Hello and welcome to TMKF Netrunner. I'm not Yeti,
And I'm Fridan.
and we're here with the final round of Swiss, round 7, with two competitors looking to get into the cut at East Anglian Regionals in Cambridge.
Yeah, it's a decisive game for both players. Either one could make the cut at this point.
Yeah, now my first question for you: how well do you know Pokemon?
How do I know Pokemon?
How well do you know Pokemon?
I've played most Pokemon games.
What Pokemon is that?
That's a Magnemite, right?
That's a Magnemite?
Yeah.
I know no Pokemon, but I know enough to know that that is a Pokemon.
Yeah, it's a sentient magnet. What's your problem?
Okay, cool. So, second question: do we think that this is a tell? Cobalt is playing Magnet in the PD list.
Could be. I was playing quite possibly a similar PD list, and I had Magnet on the day. In fact, I think my very first click in the game that I played against lif3line earlier in the day was install Magnet on HQ.
Wow.
And it paid off about 6 turns later.
So, what do we have here? We have Cobalt, who has very stream-friendly credit tokens.
Yes, we appreciate that.
Playing Precision Design. And I believe that they have been playing some form of Precision Design throughout regional season, and that I think it was a kind of shoot the moon variant.
Yeah, could be. We'll see as the game goes on, but yeah, it's definitely been a
If we
popular
see a
choice.
YDL, we know. And then on the other side, we have lif3line from Sheffield playing Freedom. I think the list kind of popularised by QTM, most likely.
Tag Me Freedom list, so...
Although the tag me is a touch of a misnomer, right? Because it takes tags, but it doesn't necessarily run on tags.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I think it's... I played against lif3line earlier in the day, as I mentioned, and it runs some kind of normal breaker suite a little bit, but it does also build up God of War with tags.
Yes.
And look to use counter surveillance to close the game. So that's an access for every tag you have.
Yeah.
If you can get that to fire off, you're feeling pretty good.
lif3line does have very un-stream friendly credit tokens, and it looks like they're discussing that fact with the
almost
stream
invisible. Yeah.
on our lovely Brindlemold designed Angel of the North playmats. No longer available.
No, they are all gone.
All gone. If you didn't get one, I don't have any more. I ran out of them.
About half of them are in Norwich and Cambridge. It's not a fix. Just the way it worked out.
Now, Cobalt has loss on the table. I have no idea.
Interesting.
Oh, I see. I think they're just trying to look for something that's a little bit more visible than the PD that we
got a bit
have
of glare.
But I think that we'll be okay.
The stream team kind of trying to make it nice and clear for us.
Yep, and we are looking at our opening hands. Now,
That looks
what's your
like-
thought on the matchup be? Who...
Having played it earlier in the day, and we saw a YDL in hand there, so I think that tells us this is a shoot the moon version. I think it's close.
Really?
I think, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you play as PD and you look to rush out in the remote, you can definitely get punished by, AI breakers can be kind of tough to deal with at times if that gets rolling, and that big dig on R&D can be pretty scary. So you don't really want to spend time defending centrals.
And I mean, Freedom
and
can
you might
always
have to.
Freedom can always trash a seamless launch, right? It's,
Absolutely, yeah. You've got to worry about that. So, yeah, you're probably going to have to think about defending centrals more than you'd like to. I have found this version of the PD list is kind of better for that than some.
Oh, really?
It's not all in on the remote. It does have that option to,
Of course, your big deal.
to kind of just sit and defend centrals a little bit more. But you don't have like loads of big ice. You have less big ice than other versions of PD, so you're kind of hoping to find Bran and get it on a central.
Yeah, it looks like there's some number of announcements and clapping of hands going on, but that's fair enough. I am looking forward to seeing how this shakes out. I've never actually seen the Freedom played. It's one of those ones. As an Asmari player, it's a bit of a bogeyman for me. I would not like to come up against.
Yeah, knowing anything can be trashed for X number of virus counters.
And we're playing AI breakers. That's my idea of hell.
Yeah, God of War, kind of two birds with one stone there. I suppose what you're looking at here, if you know what if you know it's coming and God of War hits the table, it's, I believe, 2 credits to get 1 strength. So Gatekeeper is going to do a lot of work there.
Interesting. And it looks like we do have God of War in its opening hand, as well as, I think, a Dirty Laundry, a Sure Gamble, and a Fermenter. So I would not be surprised to see a keep from the runner here.
Yes.
And it looks like a mulligan from the PD.
We did have a YDL in hand. I believe that was one of the lovely tag mill. Yeah, Hagen could do a lot of work in this game as well.
Yeah, interesting, right? So Hagen can be broken by AI breakers, but it just is stronger and can trash them if it
you're expecting that Hagen, if that's sitting at 5 strength with one God of War down, that's 10 credits to break.
What's the text on God of War?
I believe it's at the start of your turn, you can take a tag to put 2 virus counters on God of War. Each virus counter can break a subroutine, and then it's 2 credits for 1 strength, and it starts at 0 strength.
I mean, forgive me for not saying that sounds awful. Why would I want to play this card?
Only if ice has strength, which a lot of it does.
This is 6 credits to break a magnet, even if I'm...
I believe we might see during this game, it's not your only breaker, necessarily.
Okay.
I think we have Botulus in this deck as well. And we see Tattoo Bowler hitting HQ there. That's going to be nice if we are expecting. And there's the magnet.
So yeah, it was click 1 RLC to draw some cards, play the YDL.
Yeah, just nice kind of see more of your deck. You're looking to just see as much of your deck as possible and play these YDLs for big money.
And then install on HQ and R&D. A more defensive opening than you might expect from a PD.
And that's the thing. You see freedom across the table, and you know you can't afford to lose some of your key cards. To a couple of viruses.
Click 1 the price, my god! This is draw 4 cards and gain 2 credits and install the Devil Charm.
The price was not high in this case.
We're now going to have
that's a big
7 cards in hand, maybe 7 cards in hand, and 2 clicks to do something with them. So
that's a nice start there.
Yeah, potentially, takes some I don't know how. If you're wanting to hold those in hand, you don't have to in the matchup. So
yeah, and we're seeing some Dirty Laundries in hand there, which are a bit harder to play. So
second Sure Gamble.
This kind of defensive play is paying off already. I think it's this kind of freedom list is looking to punish a lot of the calls at the moment that leave centrals a bit undefended and just push their remote plan. So this is why, it's definitely smart for the PD player to then.
Having seen Devil Charm, do I expect to also see Araceris Crew, or is that there as a God of War support card?
I can't remember if there's Crew in this list or not, but I think I would, as the corp, seeing that on the table, I would fully expect it.
The corp here, install, advance, and in hand we see, I think, a Midnight Ecology and also a next activation command.
Again, I seem to remember it coming up in, there's a Crew, so we know it is. And I think that was a price into the Crew. And
the Council of Events is in the bin, which I think is interesting.
But that next activation command, once God of War's on the table, you know that's 4 credits extra to break anything.
And also, you can't use AI, right? Or do you have to use...
you have to use icebreakers, but AI can be used.
Yeah, wow, okay. Very interesting. So the Crew's come down.
And we've got...
And we're thinking
so
about
we've got the Crew and we're Dirty Laundering, because we know we've got Crew Devil Charm. There's almost 0 ice. I think there's no ice we're expecting to see here that can actually stop us. Yeah,
you could potentially see a border control, and then I think you have the option to use the border control first.
I think,
but that's a play to deny 5 credits and let them keep the Crew on the table.
Yeah, I think most versions of the list aren't running the border control. And that was something I made a change
to include
it on the day over the Sudden Commandment.
Interesting.
There's a Gatekeeper,
which can get melted. But
you're not too sad about this actually forcing the Devil Charm.
Yeah, 3 credits, get rid of those 2 key pieces.
Yeah.
And what do they see? Just a spin
doctor.
You gotta feel good as Cobalt.
Absolutely, very nice. Kind of baiting out the tools there and forcing them to be spent.
And you're putting 2 cards back, putting back in a YDL and a red level clearance.
Yep, those are the key cards that are just going to push your game plan forward as fast as possible.
Makes sense to me. This all seems... I think good starts from both.
Absolutely, yeah. I think as PD you're looking to outpace this freedom list while also not leaving yourself too vulnerable on centrals.
Oh, and also, I think with the ice destroyed and the spin doctor used, we actually the dirty laundry whiffed.
It did. Yeah, excellent.
Which isn't something you were necessarily expecting.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. You're feeling pretty safe with that dirty laundry. There's only one card in that remote that can make that happen.
Yeah. Very interesting indeed.
And we're drawing a lot of cards as PD here, so we've got tools to recover.
And I think we put one of those beautiful Brindle Mold Tranquility home grids into the remote server, which was on sale on the day.
Yeah, if we can stick that, that's going to fix most of our economy problems.
Oh, I played a game as PD the other day where I didn't see a Trank grid until turn 15 or something, and I was livid.
Turns out 2 credits a turn. Pretty good. We got 3 on that fermenter. We've interestingly installed the Solidarity badge. Great card. Yeah, just going for kind of regular, well, I suppose freedom trashers here is what we're looking for. That fermenter's more of a freedom battery than it is a credit.
Yeah, it's got a release valve if you need the money, but for the most part, the goal is
putting the pressure on, just making lots of runs. Again, the tattoo bowler's kind of nice here.
Just gonna end the run.
Yeah, doing its job.
It might get blown up in the future, which is one of the sadder ways.
Yeah, but I wouldn't necessarily want to use a crew on it, but it's you want that economic denial to start ticking.
And also, at that point, the runner has to Rashida fire.
Rashida.
Very nice. At that point, also, the runner would have to contend with the fact that they murdered an armadillo, which...
Yeah.
That weighs heavily on the conscience.
It doesn't do an actual core damage, but it might as well.
Yeah.
It feels like it.
And people say that NSG don't have enough kind of morally grey characters in Netrunner these days when... stuff like that's going on.
You've got runners taking out digital armadillos like this. There's a moral factor at play.
YDL, I think
it's a big
7.
YDL. Yeah, off the back of a Rashida.
It does feel good, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think we saw the red level clearance played first, which doesn't give you more money, but it just gets you through your deck faster, which is what you're looking to do here. Let's build a secure remote as early as possible.
Yeah.
Get the first score or 2 off online, and big deal to finish. If we can, or maybe use that next activation command.
I believe that was install Managam, install Rashida, and I think that we are going to have to discard down 1 card.
Yeah, so again, looking to
we do have agendas in HQ.
Not feeling like this Tattoo Bow is enough to score with, even with the Managam there. The runner has 6 credits, they have Devil Charm on, they don't have to do a lot to get in here.
But if next turn we can push a Midnight 3 and we can place down a second piece of ice, we are probably feeling comfortable at that stage.
Yeah, but there's a lot of tricks the Freedom can pull here. Lifeline has options.
One of those ones where I am constantly looking over the board at these kind of really disruptive anarchs and going, I've got no idea if you can get into this server.
Something bad could happen at any moment.
And you probably, but it's, do you have that, if you've got that crew in hand right now, it's a very different world to if you don't have the crew in hand.
Yeah, and you're looking at 8 credits on that fermenter, and I think that has to start feeling tempting to take that money.
Yeah, we're down on 6. We're not poor.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting one.
Taking our time to think about it. It feels like definitely a key moment in the game. As the runner, you're thinking, is this a push? Is this a risky push? Are you trying to get a luminal through here?
Click one drop.
Yeah.
Because Tattoo Bowler, you would feel very bad about botulusing that. So
yes, exactly.
We're running archives.
And we think kind of Botulus and God of War are the main tools that this deck has for breaking ice.
We see it's a Trank grid and something else.
Plus the Devil Charm crew.
Yeah. And so up to 9 credits. So we're really not feeling poor. We have a God of War in hand, which we're going to install now.
Yeah.
It can't be used to break just yet.
Now, the other key thing with this kind of matchup that certainly came up for me earlier in the day is this God of War is going to start taking tags. Normally, you're not worried about that with HB, but there is one card in the deck that you're definitely worried about, which is Greasing the Palm.
Greasing the Palm.
And for me, I held a Greasing the Palm in my hand for about 8 turns, knowing that the tags were coming at some point, and it ended up closing the game. But so it's going to feel, and maybe, that was earlier in the day for lif3line. They're definitely going to be considering that.
Aware of...
How early do you take the tags? How long do you hold off? Do you want to float tags? I would say before the Luminal is scored, it's very risky to start taking them.
So we've YDL'd.
Another big YDL. So
off the Rashida again.
Our economy problems don't exist.
We do have a big deal in hand.
We do have a big deal in hand. Excellent. So I don't think we want to score the first one, though. We want to use our remote because we only have one big deal.
Some versions of the list I've seen it play 2.
We have seen versions that run 2. Definitely an option. And we're assuming this is the more regular agenda suite that runs Off-World Office. We've been playing a slightly different version that runs 3 ICWA at a superconducting hub.
But I think that this tournament was the first outing that you had that.
That was, yes. So that hadn't been
pretty safe to assume that we're on the older version of the list, and we are icing up HQ and the remote. We didn't put a card on that remote server.
No. So kind of just playing defensively, not pushing any threats immediately, gives the runner a little bit of time to...
But at 21 credits,
recover.
We're also not scared of resing a lot of this ice.
No, we can afford to.
God of War with some counters, freedom of a tag.
Having seen God of War hit the table, I would be very keen to have a
Bran, a Mick.
Probably a Gatekeeper. We don't run Mick. I think we only have a couple of brands.
Oh yeah, of course. Gatekeeper would be almost impossible to
yeah. So
break
the devil,
God of War.
you might be forcing a Devil Charm there. Okay, so we see Leech. That's going to help with the God of War strength issue.
Yeah, and we are popping the fermenter for money.
Getting the money. Now that we've got God of War online, we have a different battery for Freedom Virus and Leech.
Yeah, very potentially, but you have to do some work to start getting those going.
Absolutely, yeah.
Click one draw, and we get a third Midnight 3 in hand.
Anyway, we need to start pushing these sooner rather than later.
Do you think that there may be a virus in the list?
Not likely. I think most of these lists don't run a virus. The influence gets a little tight. You've got the option. You definitely could. But yeah, I wouldn't be expecting it in this game.
We're looking at something like 4 agendas in hand, but I think
maybe
no seamless.
No seamless is what makes this hard. Next exclamation card, yeah.
Very strange. I think that's a Midnight 3 in the remote server.
Yes.
And without seamless in hand.
I think this may be a second click next.
No, that was our third click.
Oh, it was our third. Okay. Maybe there's a seamless we haven't
seen. Maybe there's
seen.
seamless I haven't spotted. Oh, and I do see a greasing the palm on top. So maybe there's...
Oh, yeah, that could be our way of... we're saying, I know you're going to take tags. I think we've got two tags already. So, greasing the palm is...
Only fast advances the Luminal.
Yeah, it doesn't actually act as a seamless here because it's an install in advance.
Yeah. Is that you advance...
I would be very tempted to hold that.
Another incredible price from lif3line there. Draw 2, gain 2... install fermenter must feel pretty good.
Yeah, the price is definitely paying off.
And I think I see 2 solidarity badge in hand, which I'm sure lif3line's not thrilled about. A Manuel.
Yeah, not the draw you're looking for.
Manuel, how do you feel about the Manuel install against PD?
I think multi-access is going to be how you close out this game before PD can run away with it, especially if we get to that board state that we see. This list often
Manuel, we see a consume in hand.
Oh, nice.
Now consume, hitting the table, 0 MU program.
Yeah, we're going to need to get some trashers for this engine to start rolling.
Yeah, which means we need to be getting accesses.
Yeah.
And we're playing, I think that's a Labour Rights?
I think it is. I can't remember what the original Labour Rights art looks like.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3 cards going in the bin. We lost a crew, we lost a pinhole, and we lost a
suspect we want those crews back.
Yeah, you think it's recur the crew?
I would be tempted.
Because
with the Devil Charm on the table, that's a card that we want.
So we're putting a Labour Rights back, which makes sense. Putting a crew back. And last card
is...
It's an interesting one.
Another crew.
Another crew, okay. That does make sense.
Yeah, and having, like I say, I was playing Crew Hashiko on the day, and this is ideally what your Labour Rights are for.
It felt like that was potentially like a preemptive one, slightly, but getting that...
I think it's looking ahead, knowing you're going to need to crack this remote. you need to get into a position where the remote isn't safe.
And it looks like we just drew that labour rights off of the labour rights, which I'm sure we're not thrilled about. But
yeah, not the cards you're looking for. You really want to have a crew down before you start running here.
Yeah, I feel so. We've not managed to really capitalise off of what could have been, I think, a very important next activation command.
Yeah, no runs made, maybe because of the next. But equally not turning into a score and just leaving that agenda in the remote and defending centrals further.
Draw.
And I wonder if at some point, as much as you have to play defensively and not let this freedom start trashing your cards, you do need to push sooner rather than later. This PD list doesn't necessarily have a great late game.
But also, I could fully well, as the runner, read that remote server is currently Tranquility Kid, Mana, Garm, Skunkworks.
Absolutely.
And so, what's the incentive of running? Is that agenda safer sat there, and we just wait till the turn that we top deck the Seamless?
Yeah, absolutely. And when we get there, we then get the Midnight 3 big draw, and our hand is fairly safe. With lots of cards in it.
Click 2, we're installing a crew.
So we found the crew. Where are we going to look to use it?
It looks like we're running HQ.
I think, Freedom wants to be running HQ here. Trashing cards out of hand is going to be how we cause problems, and that is a Hargan.
That is a 5-strength Hargan?
Yes. Now, that's why we're very happy to have the crew here, because we do not want to be dealing with that.
Yeah. And we're blowing it up, because it would be a 10 credit break.
10 credit break is not what we're looking for.
We continue, and we are going to res...
I believe this is a Tatubola from the start of the game.
Wow, from a long time ago.
Maybe no ice in hand, we don't want to res it, because it give too much away.
It still costs 2 to break.
I'd expect to have some ice. No leech counters, so... having to do it the old
I would be feeling suddenly very exposed as Cobalt here.
Yeah, that suddenly our HQ doesn't feel safe, and we could be, we know there's a few agendas in there. Again, we've seen in the last few rounds, like games getting to turn 4, turn 5, turn 6, and agendas building up in HQ because the remote isn't safe to push in.
We are flipping. We have a magnet, which is on HQ, which is pretty good.
Pretty good. 3 strength is plenty against God of War. And we haven't seen Botulus, but we know it's in the list. Great if you can shut that down.
And we are... an access card.
We want to get an Ikoa. We have got the click and the credits to take it. So that's pretty significant because... especially if you only got 2 in the list and that you're expecting to close out the game with a big deal Ikoa, now you have 1 more to find.
Yeah. And as Cobalt here, we don't even have a strong answer for fast advancing out this card of the remote server. We did just get a seamless launch.
Sudden commandment into the seamless launch. It feels pretty good here.
Do you just send it?
Having a think about, knowing that HQ is a little lightly defended, are we going for the push here? But
we could buy a clickback.
Yeah, good point. We are at threat 3 now.
Seamless, advance, have 1 click spare, install an ablative barrier in HQ would feel
quite
nice.
We've got some nice options here. We've got the money. As much as we have a lot of money here, we are thinking at some point we're going to want to pay 17 credits.
Yep. And some ideas are in the bin. But we've got greasing the palm. We've got
greasing. Sudden into greasing, buying the click back and advancing gives us.
Oh wow! Yeah, that's a good way to score a Midnight 3.
4-2.
That's very fun. At not a bad rate.
Yeah. Getting paid back for it, I'd be pretty happy.
And we'll draw 3.
Adding the greasing the palm, absolutely do that here. I think we should remove.
Draw a second greasing the palm. Draw a second.
This is where those tags start to feel like a liability. And strangely, removing the tag actually kind of benefits you as the corp because of counter surveillance, counting the number of tags you have.
Yeah, you just want them on as few as possible, really.
Yeah.
But I can still see a pretty hairy situation here for Manuel hits the table.
Yeah, I mean, the way this PD list often goes. You have lots of cards in HQ, and that's your HQ defense.
Yeah.
You have to find the agendas amongst this big hand of cards.
But multi-access on HQ will help with that.
Manuel will definitely make a difference there. And the ability to trash whatever we see.
How many agendas does this deck normally run?
I believe it's 8.
Believe it's 8. And we've got 1 in the remote. We've got 3 in HQ now, I think. And 2 in the score areas.
Yeah, so not many left to find. Probably pretty much all of them in HQ, maybe bar 1 or 2.
Yeah, I think there's 2 probably left in R&D. So a Cancer dig might be tough.
This is what we like. A repeat of earlier in the tournament with the magnet on HQ. This is something I did against lif3line.
Click 1, install the Botulus.
There's the Botulus on what we know as a magnet.
That's very fun. Yeah, I mean, I've been cutting magnet from a lot of my lists on the basis that Arasana's kind of gone. I guess that helps these Anarchs, right?
Yeah, I think we're starting to see Botulus come in a little bit. We've recently seen Big Seb playing 3 Botulus.
Yeah.
It's still a solid card. It just kind of comes in and out depending on how many people are playing magnet.
Yeah. And click.
There's Manuel, so we're going to go in. We can, I believe, still break this magnet, but we're only on 1 credit.
We're on 1 credit.
I think it might just do the job.
Big celebration there from Cobalt, and justified celebration.
Absolutely,
I think.
You always feel good about that when you feel like you called it early.
We've got 2 Greasing the Palm in hand.
That's going to be big.
We do have a off-world office, which would help with the money.
Yeah. We're down to 10 here, so the big deal's looking a little further off. And I don't think we saw a YDL.
I think Greasing the Palm is you can only advance the card that you are installing, isn't it?
That's correct. Yeah. So you can't if something the agenda that's in the remote, it's not going to help you there.
Can't help you at all.
I think we did see a Seamless though.
There are 2 Seamless in hand,
and we didn't play it before. And now we have a red level, so that's going to help maybe in a couple of turns with this giant hand size that we're about to have.
Yeah, so you think it's double Seamless, score the...
red level. Okay, drawing.
We're trying to find a YDL?
I think we might be. No, it's seeing our kind of credit total dip a little bit.
That's a lot of agendas in there.
If we see the back-to-back, which I think we're about to, back-to-back Midnight 3s, your hand becomes...
Bigger than the deck.
Bigger than the deck, yeah. There's more cards in HQ than R&D.
Up to 4 points.
Counter-surveillance can hit HQ or R&D.
Can it?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, wow. That's news to me.
You traditionally want to use it on R&D because that's where all the cards are.
Yeah, you are correct.
But in this situation, we might go the other way.
I don't see a YDL in hand. I do see another RLC.
Yeah, you're desperately looking for that.
There's 2 in the bin.
YDL here with
1.
Oh, okay, because we've got the agenda score.
Oh, of course.
There we go, and that's why this list feels so good.
You just get to pick up the YDL.
There's some really interesting choices to be made around those PD bouncers and how you use these things.
Yeah. Do we not have... Oh, clearly we didn't have a click spare to play it.
No, it's just the Seamless double advance. So we're sitting on 6 here, but next turn we're going to be on a lot more than 6. So this feels like the window, lif3line has to take in some capacity, but on 1 credit it gets kind of tough.
But it's not that hard to imagine, even though there are 16 cards in hand,
yeah,
more than a third of them are agendas, and it's not impossible to just imagine 2 accesses winning lif3line the game here.
Yeah, only needs to see 2 more agendas.
And the odds of doing that aren't that bad.
Oh, do we have... we have more than 1 credit. I didn't see these
We've got
invisible
7,
credit tokens.
I think we're on 7 now.
Yes, yeah.
After popping the fermenter.
Oh, of course we had the fermenter. Yeah, there we go.
But with the Manuel on the table, using Leech and Crew to destroy the magnet.
Get rid of the magnet, absolutely.
And is Manuel every time? Manuel's not first time, I don't think.
Yeah, anytime you run Wild Tanked.
So I think that, we could theoretically get, 2 good accesses, 2 double accesses here, we could win the game.
Here, so.
And lif3line's not necessarily threatening to win next turn.
So yeah, we're seeing, Cobalt easing off that Central's defense to get these scores out, and the punishment kind of coming in.
Yep. So I can't tell you exactly how many cards are in HQ. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
And again,
Spin Doctor. Would you trash a Spin Doctor on this board still? You don't. You do have.
You
the
are
money.
Freedom, so you can do it for free, as well.
But you want to hit.
But you probably want to save that for something else.
You want to be able to Freedom trash. Big deal, right?
Yeah. 17 virus.
17
no
virus counters. And a Rashida. Okay, well we can clear out the hand of stuff and run back.
Everything. You've got more clicks to run here, so anything we see,
There's 5 agendas left in the game, and I think
all 2 less YDL credits.
That is also true, and actually potentially significant for getting to 16.
Yeah.
The difference between getting 8 and 10 is actually going to be pretty big.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're seeing 2 more here.
I just hope to see agendas or YDLs.
Yeah, we can trash the YDL. We can trash anything.
Seamless.
Oh,
you can't imagine that we're planning on playing that seamless this game.
Exactly. Yeah, we're past seamless territory here.
Although,
that remote's not getting used again.
The remote might be more safe than we did Freedom Trash it. The remote is probably more safe than
HQ. Yeah, true.
Yeah. And we get a midnight 3. Okay, up to 5 points.
Yeah.
So both of them really on game point.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I don't actually see the Iqua in Cobalt.
Yeah, doesn't have the winning agenda, but there's not many left in R&D here.
Do you play YDL and do you try and greasing the palm out one of these agendas into the remote server?
It's tempting just to get rid of it. Oh, the red level clearance. This is why red level's so nice.
There's not a lot of cards left in R&D. I would be tempted to greasing the palm the Iqua down.
Yes. Yeah, YDL. Potentially
greasing the palm into big deal.
If you get enough money here, I think this is almost exactly what happened in our game. I don't know if we'll get away with it here, but greasing the palm is what gave
14.
Me the
if we play greasing the palm, we can play. Are we one credit short playing big deal?
16.
Big deal 17.
We
credits?
need a trank grid, which we haven't got.
Oh,
so we might be 1 credit short here.
Tragic.
Yeah.
But there might well still be something, and this remote server might just hold.
It could. There's a Managon there, and not a lot of money on the
table.
But then HQ is really vulnerable.
Wide open.
Yeah.
And
we have to be able to defend HQ here as well as pushing the remote.
You got to think we're icing HQ, and the question is just: are we installing the Iqua, or are we holding out for a big? I mean, is it safer here or there?
Yeah, I think we're doing lots of maths here. And this is where if you're playing superconducting hub, you've got one agenda in your hand that doesn't win the run of the game.
Interesting.
And you've got one agenda that's an Iqua, so it's just that much harder to steal here.
Yeah.
That's why we prefer that agenda suite.
So we are doing it.
There it goes into the remote.
Choosing to advance. You could have very entertainingly decided not to do so.
Remove 1 access from counter surveillance. But yeah, I think it's pretty clear what's happening here.
And ablative barrier on HQ.
Interesting. That's not gonna stop much.
No, less than a drafter.
And yes, some discarding to be done as well. We no longer have the
2 to res, right? 2 to res.
Yeah,
but I mean,
what could we get here? A Spin Doctor out of the bin, if there is one, potentially.
We're greasing it down rather than.
Might as well get the money.
Yeah, and so that means that we are threatening big deal next turn.
Yes. Yeah. So we don't even necessarily need to. We've got Seamless in hand as well.
Well, exactly right. We've now got it on 2 fronts,
so we can spend all our money on ice.
But if your lifeline now is your plan, I'm going to run HQ, I'm going to get accesses, and I'm going to trash combo pieces or steal the winning agenda and just try and do it this turn.
The trap here is thinking that the game's in R&D. There's every possibility that there are no agendas left in R&D.
Yeah. I think we have 1 agenda in the remote, and I see at least 1, 2 in HQ, I think. Although, actually, I think that we can probably conclude that there's a Luminal in those 4 cards.
Did we see 4 cards? It could be, yeah.
Because if we had a Luminal, I'm sure we would have scored it.
We might as well have scored it for the cost of 0
removing an agenda for the game and everything. So
feels like if we had it, we would score it.
Yep, and we are on... and so really... Unless they manage to trash the Seamless, we've got a lot. Click 1, take some money off consume. Yep. That is a very important step.
So with God of War on this many virus counters, the only thing stopping us is ice strength.
Yeah,
And
which
the
means
two
it's
credits-
essentially Gatekeeper.
Yeah.
We know one Gatekeeper's been trashed already.
Yeah.
So, what do you think the odds of the Ice on the Remote being a Gatekeeper are, and that actually
That's probably
doing
what
enough?
we would most want it to be, and I would be reading that remote as Gatekeeper into Tachibowler.
If you're Freedom, do you have any way of getting through that with one Devil Charm left yet to BC play?
Crew gets you up to 4 strength
With Leech,
which
isn't enough.
and then you can still pay money for strength as well. So you've got a decent
Not for the
amount of
trashing,
reach.
but
Yeah. So, okay, so we
click
get our
3,
running
wedge
HQ.
Q.
Yeah.
Now
And this is where actually, if we'd gone earlier,
we're
in
getting the
turn,
Spin Doctor,
there's the
putting
Spin
that on the
Doctor.
table just
This
to draw 2.
Knowing that there's Luminal in R&D, this might put more agendas into hand, not less. But
Maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
I think we can see 3 there.
2.
Only 2 agendas in hand.
I think it must be more. But yeah, okay, we're breaking.
And there's 3 left in the game, other than the one in the remote.
And we are drawing 2.
Yeah.
And
And
we
there's the
drew
Luminal draw.
an agenda.
So we didn't actually change the number. I think there's 1 card left in R&D.
Interesting. I wonder if that Spin Doctor Res is...
So this is a big...
We're
big
seeing
run
2.
here.
And we can run back.
Yes.
So
So we've got 2 chances here. And this is where it's really hard.
and
with
there's
DD.
only about
You have
8
to-
cards in hand.
You have to do a lot of work to deny this kind of opportunity to the runner.
She's the drafter. Now, if you're Lifeline, are you considering...
I think you are. You've only got 1 run left. You might as well trash what you can here.
Yeah, even
Just
if
to
your
reduce
next
the
access is a seamless launch and you feel...
I think you'd be okay. Like I think
It's
you're
the
hoping to win
agenda.
it. There you go.
Yeah, that was a very close game.
Very close, yeah. Just needed some kind of beefier ice on HQ on that last turn, and yeah, maybe just looking for that Luminal at the
If you'd
end.
got the Luminal off last turn, you would have...
Yeah, drawing
felt
that
a lot
earlier
better.
with all the greasing the palm.
Oh, the big deal was in the bin.
Big deal in the bin, knowing, I suppose at this point, with the agenda of the moat, you're not
Yeah.
going to use it to win. It's the last turn either way.
Yeah, and very well played from both players there, actually.
Definitely, yeah, really interesting matchup.
Yeah, I would be interested in seeing how the Freedom list plays into something with beefier ice.
Yes,
know?
yeah.
Well, how does it do into an Ag Infusion?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, you've got. We saw the kind of Crew Devil Charm impact there, and we're seeing that pop up in a few decks. Like I say, the Crew Host list doing similar.
Paying influence for copulation, which I guess is a Freedom ability.
It's like
light.
Freedom, but once.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Crew Charm gives you a lot of leverage into that kind of big ice setup.
Interesting. Well, so that was the end of Swiss. I believe Lifeline did make the cut off of this.
They did.
And yeah, we've got one more game that we're going to commentate, and it's an exciting one because it's a game that you played.
Oh yeah, I loved that game.
So thank you very much if you got this far in the video. Come to UK Nationals, as it says on the screen, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you.